Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from T&J, and I love this time of the year. It's draft day. Once again, it's our third draft. These seasons are flying by, and we are already into June. We're 30. We are actually going into this draft with a kind of different strategy. Before we would draft a pitcher in the first round, I'm not so sure I want to do that because we got rid of Corey Ray. Remember, he was one of the top prospects in our organization, but he was just taking a little too long to develop for me. So let's just get into this draft and look at where we're drafting now. This is the best position we drafted. I mean, well, worse, but I mean, good as far as performance wise. But you look at some of these players. So let's just look at all these blue chippers that are going here. Austin Nunez was the first pitcher off the board. He's a lefty. He looks like he's not going to be ready for a while, but he probably has A potential. He's 80 potential on the 20/80 scale. Looks like going to do well. Looks like his walks per nine is going to be pretty good. Hits per nine has the potential to be good. Let's look at the next guy. Reggie Pena is an older guy, 22 years old. He's a lefty too. His stamina is going to be rocking. The walks per nine is going to be rocking. Looks like he can field the ball pretty well. Looks like he has arm strength and everything like that. So, and his break. It looks like that's going to be pretty good. So here's our first position player off the board, Pablo Reyes. Look at his hitting zones. They're pretty good right off the bat. He's a switch hitter, but he's only 5'8", and he's a right fielder, so he looks like he doesn't have too much power, but it looks like his fielding is really good. His arm strength is going to be really good, and he has pretty decent speed. So it looks like they had a good pick there. The Chicago White Sox pick another starting pitcher here. It looks like he's going to be pretty good as far as break goes. He's already maxed out there. But all these guys are 80 potential. I'm surprised here. Look at this. 3 straight first basemen go in the 5, 6, and 7 picks. I mean, they're first basemen. I mean, first basemen aren't really guys that, you know, you pick in a draft, because at least not this early, because unless they're amazing and like transformative hitters, you don't really get guys this early that are first basemen. But it looks like these guys do have some pretty good hitting stats. This guy looks like he is a beast. Contact versus right and left are both at 70, and his power looks like it's gonna max out pretty well. So maybe that guy was worth it, but the other two, I'm not so sure. As we go down this list, you know, I'm starting to see a little bit of outfield, but I'm not seeing many middle infielders. I see one shortstop here, a second baseman here, another second baseman. Usually you see a good, you know, amount of middle infielders here. So let's just see who's going to be here for us. So what's funny is that I scouted this guy, Mike Ivy, and look what he ends up being. He ends up being pretty good. 80 potential. Man, you cannot have enough pitching. And the funny thing is that, man, we just said that we're not going to get any pitching. But I did not do a good job of scouting here. And here's the thing. I'm going in so blind because look at this accuracy here. Okay, here's some accuracy on these guys here. So, I mean, not a lot of guys with high potential that we have high accuracy on. Like I said, there's a pitcher right here. I mean, not too much. You know what? I mean, since we're high accurate on these guys, I think we should just get the best available right now in the first round, just because we know that, you know, people always need pitching. So this may make some of our guys expendable, just like we're thinking about trading Junior Guerra and Lance Lynn right now because of our prospects. This could make us really, you know, in a good position for some years to come. So you know what? This guy has the most potential out of all these guys. He is 23 years old. He's a little bit older, but he's a hard throwing right-hander. He has a lot of break on his ball. So you know what? I'm going to go after him and just get him in the first round. Mike Ivy. We've had pretty good luck with picking in the first round with these pitchers. We picked Geronimo Reyes in our first, and he just made his debut. We expect him to have a bright career. James Chi, who is one of the best pitchers, probably the second best pitcher I've drafted, and now Mike Ivy. So I think we're in good shape here. So let's just get Mike Ivy, even though we just said we're not going to go after pitching. But let's just look at this. So as we look at the second round, I've seen a couple of guys still with 80 potential. So there's a starting pitcher here. He has 80 potential. A catcher here with 80 potential. Ooh, they're lucky to get him. He is 24 though, but he does have 80 potential. But look at this guy, Luis Rodriguez. He has 80 potential, and look at him. He is fast. Oh, I thought he was a catcher. For a second, I thought he was a catcher. But okay, so he's a shortstop, and he has pretty good reaction. It looks like he's going to be maxed out potential for reaction, but 80 potential. Another 80 guy here, a first baseman, another first baseman. Wow. I mean, these first basemen are probably coming out pretty good. Grover Morgan, another 80 potential guy. So there were quite a few 80 potentials. Maybe we can pick one up right here. Like I said, we don't have much accuracy here. So what do we need? We're pretty deep at outfield. We did just trade Corey Ray, so we might want to get another outfield. Let's just see exactly what some of these guys are. So Lance Bliss. So this guy looks really good, but like I said, we don't have any accuracy on him. But what we're banking on him is that age. Look at, he's 18 years old. So he's got a lot of time to develop. I don't buy this at all. I mean, I'd be shocked if he was 80 out of 80 speed right now, 75 out of 80 stealing, 70 out of 80 arm accuracy, 70 out of 80 arm strength. I mean, this guy is too good to be true. Too good to be true. But he is 18 years old, so we are not taking a huge risk here. It is the second round. You know what? Let's just go with this guy. Let's just look at some other positions here. He's probably the highest potential we've seen. This guy has high potential too, but his speed was nowhere near close to the other guy, and he's 20 years old, so he's still got a couple years over him. Let's just see. Let's sort by all really quick and just see our projected 80 potential guys. So Sean Garcia, he's 23 years old. He looks like he's 80 potential, but we don't know yet because we don't have that accuracy. We did a horrible job scouting here, so we are literally going in blind. Martin Irizarry, I don't know how to say that last name, but he has pretty good stats here. He is a lefty bat. We have a lot of lefty bats, it seems like. We have Thames, we have Shaw, we have Brett Phillips, so we have quite a few lefty bats, so I'm not looking to get him. Here's another first baseman, Diego Ortiz. You know what? I don't see anybody that's really going to let me get over that center fielder that we saw earlier. Lance Bliss. So we're going to go with Lance Bliss with our second pick here. Hopefully he ends up being a gem. So we got Lance Bliss. I wonder if they tell you the real potential here in these guys. Let me see. Once I drafted him, what did they say? They said he's 80 potential, so we'll see. So look, there are still some 80 potential guys here, at least from what our scouts are saying to us here. So it looks like they're still going late here. So you know what? Should we just take a chance on another one of these 80 potential guys? Because you never know. You never know. So let's just look at these first basemen, because these first basemen are going in this. So let's see. This guy's 19. He's a first baseman. He's really slow, it looks like. But I need some power. Let's just look at some power. So this guy's power, 75 potential, 80 potential. This guy was 75 potential, 75 potential. What's this guy? This guy doesn't have as much potential here. Thomas Huffman. It looks like he's really good at contact, plate vision. Pretty decent. Who else is here? So another left fielder. Looks like he has some pretty good speed there, but we just picked up a speedy outfielder. Let's just see. Here's that is a rare. I don't even know how to spell it. I'm not even gonna try to say it. So Greg Williamson, another guy. I mean, a second baseman. I mean, he's 18 too. So this is pretty intriguing. But I want to get some power here. I want to get some power. I want to take a chance on some power. We're in the 3rd round, so you can never have too much power. But look at this guy. So this guy's potential ratings is at least 75. At least 75. His power versus right is 50. Power versus left is 60 at potential. But look at everything else. 80 potential at contact for both sides. 80 potential plate vision, 75% plate discipline, 80 fielding, 80 arm strength, 80 arm accuracy, 80 reaction, 75 speed, 80 stealing. This guy might be hard to pass up. Daniel Parkinson? I know what I just said about power, but this guy might be too good to pass up, and he's a shortstop. So we might have to make that move. I think I'm going to go with him. I mean, this guy is pretty damn good. So let's just go with him. Daniel Parkinson, welcome to the Brewers. So let's just look at some of the breakdown. I just seen a breakdown of some of our positions there. So it says we're thin at left field, right field, third base, closing pitcher, first base, catcher. You know what? I want to get another catcher. But I also, so this guy is pretty good, this catcher right here. But anyway, I also want to get a closing pitcher or a relief pitcher that can turn into a closer. So let's just look at these guys as well. Roger Leon. This looks like one of the ratings of a guy that it looks like 80 potential now, but it's not going to be. Ray Thatcher. He doesn't look overly impressive. Usually the older guys here, so if they're older and they have higher potentials, usually those guys stay true to potential, or at least close within like 5. They go off the 20/80 scale, so they maybe stay within like the 70-65 potential range. Usually those guys end up being maybe like C potential, low B potentials, like 65, something like that. So let's just go back to this relief pitching. So usually these older guys, let's see. So Andres Diaz, it looks like his control is pretty good. His home run versus 9. He looks pretty good. What does he throw? He throws right. Ray Thatcher as well, but he's not older. So Roy Cherry, it looks like he has some potential there, but it looks like this guy is more polished. Andres Diaz, because he has that 80 control, 55 velocity, and 70 break, 80 home run versus 9, home run per 9. But we don't know, because like I said, his MLB ETA is 2023 plus. He's at a 60 overall now. They say this guy's at a 65. He does throw lefty. I don't know how I feel about a lefty relief pitcher that possibly could be a closer, unless he throws heat like Chapman does or something like that. So, I mean, should we just take a chance on this lefty? I mean, his velocity potential is at 80. You know what? Let's just go with Roy Cherry. Let's just see what he does. So we're now on to the 5th round. It seems like we're cruising a little bit here. So let's just see who else is here. So we still have some 80 potential guys that we don't know if they're really 80 potential, but they could be. Let's just look at the power here. So here's another guy with some power, Roosevelt Hayes. However you say that name, he's got some power at first base. Michael Comley looks like he can hit very, very well versus lefts. I'm just looking for somebody with some pop, and if we can find like a middle. Whoa, look at this guy's hitting zones though. This guy can hit. Steve Hudson. Looks like his ETA isn't for another 4 or 5 years, so it's not like we're looking to get somebody up there, but we at least want to have somebody that has some good ratings right now, has good potential. I mean, this guy looks like his reaction's pretty good, and we need that at first base. Let's see here. DeAndre Willard, another pitcher here. This guy looks kind of interesting, but he is 22 years old. I might want a younger guy here, just in case we might want to use him for trade bait or something like that. Seth Dahms. This guy actually looks pretty good. Seth Dahms. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he has some good speed and stealing. He has good arm strength, so this might be a guy that we can turn into, any position there. Third base, shortstop, second base, maybe even outfield, because think about it. A lot of these guys, we need another utility guy. There's not a lot of utility guys that you can draft, but maybe we can turn this guy into it since he has some good arm strength, fielding, like all the defensive attributes you want in a player. That's a utility guy. So, let's just get him. So we drafted 2 shortstops here, and we're gonna draft. This is gonna be the second one here. So we're gonna draft him. Seth Dahms. Let's see what he's got. He's 18, so we're taking a flyer on him developing in the future. So let's just move on. We are now on to the 6th round here, and here's where you want to get some people who might be good. So you're going off all potential here. You're not going on anything else. So let's just see here. Let's look at our 80 potential guys. So there's 2 possible left. These guys probably will not end up being 80 potential in the actuality, but they're guys that, still low risk. Some guys that we can take here. Andres Diaz, we just looked at him. Stover, it looks like he doesn't have much potential for power. Mike Comley, Fairchild. Oh, this guy has a lot of power versus right. And he's a lefty, but he's 5'8". What's up with all these short guys that have this power? So let's just go with him. I mean, he's got a lot of potential at power. Look at that, 80 potential at power. His hitting zones are already pretty good. So let's just go with him. He's another right fielder, another outfielder that we're adding to the list. Andres Diaz, you see, went at the top of this 7th round. So that's going to be our last pick there. And we're going on to see what these guys are like, because we need to see how good these guys actually are. So let's sign these draft picks. Look at the potential in a lot of these guys. It's not really impressive. Mike Ivy was our best here. But wow, look at that velocity. He's already got 99 velocity, 91 arm strength, 95 stamina. So I'm not too mad at this guy. Obviously our first draft was definitely the best, because we had, who do we have? We had Geronimo Reyes and John Taylor. John Taylor had 88 potential as our second pick. I think he was our third pick, actually. He ended up being really good. Lance Bliss. So I'm proud of this one, though. But look at him. He has some good fielding attributes. This is exactly what we've been looking for. He's already got some pretty good fielding attributes. And if we just train him as far as hitting goes, and I addressed this in my last video, I wish that MLB The Show, the developers, would just show us like how to properly train, and show us what's actually doing what, because it seems like when we put training attribute points, not even points, but if you put players training towards one certain category, it seems to help a little bit, but they seem to be more performance based more than anything. So Lance Bliss, he has speed, he has the arm strength, he has the reaction, he has everything. I'm glad that we picked him. So let's get him signed up. Daniel Parkinson, this guy was actually pretty good. Ended up being good, 78 potential. He's 75 overall right now. That's pretty good. 71 clutch, that's pretty good as well. 83 fielding, 65 arm strength. His none of these guys have secondary positions. Maybe they'll get secondary positions once the season starts next year, because remember, they won't be on our roster until next season. So, but he has some good, I mean, he's fast, 84 speed, 94 stealing. His contact's pretty good. His vision's pretty good. So, you know, I actually like that pick. I'll take that back. This class isn't as bad as what I initially thought. Seth Doms was that guy that we just drafted in the 5th round. Remember, another 18-year-old with high potential. Look at his speed. I mean, he has some good speed. He has good contact. He's like the exact same player as Daniel Parkinson. They're literally almost exactly the same. 72 overall, 75 overall, right away. So, wow, I'm surprised at that. So, Roy Cherry, he's going to be our lowest potential guy and our lowest overall guy. He's 53 overall. What was Mike Ivy? He was 69 overall. Lance Bliss, 63 overall. I'm going to like Lance Bliss. I hope he turns out to be a really good player. Daniel Parkinson, 75. Roy Cherry, 53. We're going to sign him anyway. And then Shane Fairchild, our last pick in the draft. He has power, but he's only 60 overall, deep potential. We're not really expecting too much out of him, but let's just get him signed. So we do add one pitcher to our organization there. One more, another center fielder, Lance Bliss, who can play probably multiple positions in the outfield. And then Daniel Parkinson, who I'm pretty excited about. Him and Seth Doms. I mean, these guys are this guy's 18, so no rush to get him up there. Daniel Parkinson's 21. He might have a chance to compete because he has 83 fielding, 65 arm strength. So he's going to be reliable if we put him at second base. You never know. He can be up there in maybe 1 or 2 years. You never know there. So let's just look at the rest of our fielding guys in the field here in the middle infield after drafting those 2 shortstops. Sean Overmeyer was a guy that we signed in free agency. He was deep potential, but I just took a flyer on him because he had a high overall, but he was deep potential, 23 years old. John Feldman was a guy we drafted in the draft last year. It looks like he's actually getting better. He's only hitting 241, but that's all right because we're not expecting him to contribute anytime soon. Sammy Hernandez, another guy I think we got in free agency. And here on our corner, Josh Morgan. This is a guy that we got in the Jersey Profile trade. He's not doing so well. 238 C potential. He actually went down in potential. Lucas Urseg, I was expecting him to rise a little more, but I don't know. Maybe he just, I don't know. Maybe he's plateaued a little bit. Well, he's getting better. I mean, but he's only hitting 208 in AAA. Brian Abraham was a guy that we picked up in free agency as well. Jorge Flores, he's not really a prospect of ours, so I'm glad we did get some shortstops because we're running thin on shortstops here. So we have a couple in our organization now. Warner Stewart is a guy that I mean, if it wasn't for his fielding at 38, he might get his chance at the show right now. Kyle Wren is another guy. He's doing pretty well hitting the ball, 285 in AAA. John Taylor, our top prospect probably now. John Murray is the top prospect, but behind him is probably John Taylor. He's going to continue to improve. I'm not going to rush him to get to the show at all because I'm going to let him develop. He's hitting 259 so far this year. Boog Powell is another guy that he could get a shot as well. But Brett Phillips right now is that guy at the major league level that I like him in the field because he's got that 86 arm strength. He can hit pretty well versus righties. He's got 72 speed, which isn't too bad. He's only hitting 214, but you never know. A lot of these guys can be expendable too. Remember, we drafted another center fielder, so we're pretty good in the outfield. We got some pretty good outfielding prospects. Michael Reed is another guy that's actually a prospect in real life, but who knows when he'll reach the MLB level, if he ever will. But that's going to do it, man. We had a pretty good draft. I was initially disappointed by it, but we drafted some pretty good pieces there. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, and we're coming to almost the second half of the season. We're sitting here at 31-21. It looks like we're going to face the Pittsburgh Pirates coming up, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Nationals, the Cubs. We haven't faced the Cubs in a while. Tampa Bay. We haven't faced Tampa Bay. I'm interested in playing that game in Tampa Bay. So we have a pretty good stretch of games for some tough teams coming up, but we'll be back for some gameplay. No gameplay this time just because it was a draft, but we got some pretty good prospects. So I'll see you next episode. Peace.